Alright guys, at this point in the application, if we have some validation and we hit login, all that does right now is populate our error state with the errors that we have from the form. So what we want to do in this video is actually display those errors to the user. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to create a function, and this function is going to be called render errors, and I'm just going to call it render errors for, and this is going to take in the field that we want to render errors for, and then it's just going to print out some errors for that specific field. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is check if there are errors for that field. So if this.state.errors, which is an object, and then we're going to pass in field, so we're checking if that specific field has errors. Then what we're going to do is return some JSX right here, and what we're going to do is loop through the array of errors. So this.state.errors, and then for that specific field, and then we're going to use a map. Okay, then we're going to get each error from that array right here, and what we're going to be returning is a span tag. So I'm just going to print out a span right there, and I'm going to close it up right here, and then we're going to have a small tag also. So we're going to have small, and we're going to print out the error right here. So error like this. Okay, so basically this loops through all of the errors for a specific field. For example, if it was email, it's going to check if there's this.state.errors email, and then if there is, then it's going to say this.state.errors for email.map, and then for each error it's going to return a span with a small tag in it that contains the error. Okay, and right now I'm just going to add a break right here, so that if there are multiple errors, then we're going to have all of the errors stacked on each other. Okay, so how are we going to use this function? I'll come down to my JSX render function, and under every input I'm going to call that function. So right here I'm just going to say this dot render errors for, and then I'm going to pass in email, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing for password. So I'm going to print out this dot render errors for, and then I'm going to pass in the password like this. Okay, so render errors for email and render errors for password. Okay, so let's go ahead and see how this looks right now. I'll give the browser a refresh, and then I'm just going to pass in bad, and I'm going to pass in pass. Okay, I hit login, and right now we have the email must be a valid email address, and then we have the password must be 8 characters or more. Wow, that's great. Looks really great, right? But it looks like we have an error in our console. So let's go ahead to our console and see what it says. So right now it says, warning, each child in an array or iterator should have a unique key prop. And that's true, right? So where are we gonna get a unique key prop from? Right now our render function simply renders a span. So I don't want to use the index of the array element, so I'm just gonna set the key to be equal to the error. And I actually hope this works, right? So let me refresh that and see if it does clear that error. So I'm just gonna have a bad and a pass, and I hit login, and looks like that error goes away. That's great. So right now we don't want this span tag to just be as plain as this. Why don't we give this span tag the color of this navigation bar? So right now I'm just going to inspect this navigation bar, and then you can see right here the background color is this value. So I'm just going to come back to my span or to my small tag, and then I'm going to give this a style, and it's going to have color of this. Okay, I save that, go back to my application, refresh, and then type in bar pass and hit login, and then we have the email must be a valid email address, and the password must be 8 characters or more. Great, we are displaying our validation errors, but what if we have more than one? So I'm just gonna pull out the email right there and hit login, and right now we have the email is required, the email must be a valid email address, and then we still have this. So we're able to display our login errors to the user, which seems really useful. In the very next video, this is what we're going to be doing. We are finally going to be communicating with our Laravel API, because if we check our handle form submit function, we have a sudo to do right here that says post the data to the server. So that's what we're going to be doing in the very next lesson. Thank you so much, and see you then.